Hey, what's up, everybody, and welcome back to Code Interpret. So today we're gonna have a look at the arithmetic operators. All right, so these are like really easy to do. They're like normal maths questions. Okay, so let's start off with A. We assign it with 3. B, assign it with a value of 2, and then print A plus B. So I'm gonna go through these really quickly. They're not so difficult. Okay, so if you want to multiply, you press Shift and 8 for asterisk B, and then if you want to divide, now there's a thing I'm going to tell you about divide, but let's just get the answer. Let's see what the output is. Okay, so A plus B, 5, A minus B, 1, A into B, 3 into 2 is 6, A divided by 5 is 1.5. Okay, so 3 divided by 2 is 1.5, but even if you have a number like that doesn't have a remainder or a decimal value, so let's say 3 divided by 3 should give you a 1, right? But actually, A divided by C, it's gonna return, so the data type for just the divide sign is always gonna be a float. Okay, so even though the answer was 1, it still give you a 1.0. Okay, now to be able to get rid of the float or the decimal, you you do floor division. Okay, which is this one, step number 5. Okay, how did you do it? And with a C, and this will give you a 1. Okay, now what does a floor division do, anyways? So it round it rounds your number down to the lowest to the closest integer. Okay, so if we do this, A divided by A floor division B, the answer is supposed to be 1.5, right? So because 3 divided by 2 is 1.5, but since I've used a double backslash, which is floor division, it rounds the output or the result to the closest or the nearest integer. Okay, so 1.5 becomes 1, and the type, so if you want to check the type of your operation or the output of the operation, it will tell you that it belongs to a class called integer. And here, if we use the function type and put it inside the brackets, let's check. See this number, the output of this of division belongs to a class called float, which is a data type float. Okay, so you just remember that. Okay, now modulus. All right, modulus is you use a percent sign to determine the modulus of A and B. Okay, so what this does is that it divides the two numbers, like A divided by B, and then it gives you the remainder. It checks how many times can B be divided in A. So if it's 3, it's gonna check how many times can 2 be divided in 3, and that's just 1. And then it's gonna give you the remainder. So the answer will be 1. Okay, it's 1. Let's just do this. Um, so modulus. All right, let's take a bigger number. So let's say 27, and y equals 5, and then print x percent sign shift and 5 and y. This would give us a 2. So one way to do it is just simply use the percent sign. But if you have big, large numbers and you don't want to print it, you just want to do it like in your memory, then a nice way to do it is step one, take the floor division, use the floor division to get the quotient, okay, and then let's do it over here, okay. Uh, sorry, print x floor division. Okay, so it's gonna check how many times can y be divided, and x is basically just dividing. So this is gonna tell us how many times can y be divided in x, okay? And it would then round down the number to the closest or the nearest integer. Let's check the answer. 5. Okay. And step 2, you take the 5 and multiply it by, where is the number? With this. Okay. You multiply it by 5 and that should give you 25. And the third step, you take 27 and subtract it. So you basically take the larger number and subtract it by the answer, which is 2. And then, so let's do it again. X percent y. So if you follow these steps, you get an answer 2. There you go. So we got a 2 over here and a 2 over here. It's the same thing, okay? So if you want to do it in your memory, okay, because if you're writing a program and you just don't have the time to write a print statement to check the remainder, you can just do it just by looking at the two numbers. So it's 27, right? You do the floor division and you get an answer. You can just do it. You can just check how many times can 5 be divided in 27. That's 5 times, right? So you get a 5 quotient over here, all right? And then you multiply it by the smaller number, you get 25. Then you subtract it from the larger number and you get a 2. Okay, so you can do it either way. You just print it to get an answer, or you can do it this way. All right, exponentiation. This basically returns the power. So you know how you raise a number to the power of something. So let's say we want a square of x, and we want a cube of x. To get a square, all you gotta do is x, use the asterisk sign twice with let's say 2, okay, and print x asterisk twice, which is shift and 8, 3. Let's check the answer. There you go. These are the answers. Okay. So what was y, by the way? It was 5, right? So you can do this as well. So the first is the number itself and then raised to the power of y. So that would be 27 raised to the power of 5. That's probably going to be a huge number. And there it is. This is it. So that's all. This part was really easy. So in the next one, we're going to have a look at the other operators. All right. Thank you.